Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
Happy Friday, Mike, and welcome back.
Thank you, Phil, and happy Friday to you and everybody else out there listening. It has been, for me, it has been a very, very long time since I last talked to you. I know it was only a week ago, but man, has a lot happened.
So, Mike, you gotta. We promised we would give updates, so it's over now. What's the final verdict?
Well, I've been asked a lot. It's funny because we finished the race, and I've been fairly silent now for the last 2 or 3 days, basically sleeping. But so the gist of it is, we as a team completed the Baja 1000. We finished the race, which I think we talked about last week. Is only about half of the teams that start the race actually finish. So super excited that we were able to do that. We did it by the skin of our teeth. We have allotted 36 hours to finish the entire course, and we did it with only 14 seconds left on the clock. So it was 35 hours, 59 minutes, and however many seconds that is. So we only had 14 seconds left. It was a mad scramble at the end. We had just significant problems with just about everything that you can think of. I know some of you probably have watched some of the video from later in the race, but if you hadn't, it was raining extremely hard towards the finish line, towards Ensenada, and we had to deal with the last probably 50 miles of just incredible mud puddles. We lost in our car. David and I were the final team of drivers to complete the course, and we had to deal with communication failure because of the amount of water and rain that was coming inside the car. It damaged our communication, so we lost helmet communication and we lost communication with our pit. We lost the race computer on board that I was essentially, as a navigator, was following in order to give David instructions as to, which way to turn, what was coming up. The computer was malfunctioning and shutting on and off. I had to reboot the thing about 5 times, and we were blind. And I don't want you to take that lightly. When I say blind, I mean blind. We were going through puddles, and for those of you that are not familiar with the race car, there's no windshield. So it was like waves in the ocean of water and mud coming in at us. And what we would try to do was look at the GPS before we hit a puddle, and you could look at the track to see where you had to go, because you had to close your eyes, and basically for 10 seconds you were totally blinded inside the car. So it was frightening, to say the least. We were very cold. It was in the 40s, and we were completely soaked, as you can imagine. Yeah, it was in the 40s. It was extremely cold and very wet. And at one point, my helmet even broke. I had the visor part of it. We got hit by such a huge tidal wave of water and mud that came through the front of the car. It broke one of the brackets on the side, one of the pins that hold the visor in. So for the rest of the race, and by the way, I couldn't see anyways because I couldn't wipe the visor off because we brought on these microfiber towels to wipe our helmets off. But the problem was I had them on my lap. Well, you can imagine with all the mud and water coming in, they were dirty before we even used them. So we just couldn't see. So finally I ended up just having to hold the visor up, and then every time we went through a puddle, we would close our eyes and our mouth. And that's basically how we finished the race. So it was let me just say this. I'll summarize the whole thing by saying the Baja 1000 is life-changing. From a standpoint is, I don't know that I knew what I was getting into. And when you get there and you realize how big of a deal it is, how many people follow this, how the Mexicans are completely mesmerized and completely on board with this lifestyle of the Baja racing. it was weird just walking around downtown, with your driver wristband on. I mean, people are coming up to you like you're John Bon Jovi. I mean, they're coming up. They want autographs. They want pictures. They want to give you hugs. It is an interesting. I just did not realize what I was getting into, and it is. I mean, I don't know that I've ever worked for that hard for a week with a team of what amounted to 27 individuals, I believe, plus some others, and many people that were supporting us that closely with complete strangers at the beginning of the week. And it takes an army to get that car across the finish line, and we did it. And we didn't, I'm going to put out on my social medias in the next couple of days some wrap up videos and some highlight reels, because I don't think we've even put out a tenth of what we went through. But for those that are wondering, we rolled the car 4 times. We blew out I don't know how many tires. I want to say 11 tires and 9 wheels. We blew the clutch out at the end of the race. The car actually had to get pushed up onto the podium because we couldn't drive it. The part of the suspension broke in the front. I mean, I could go on and on, probably forgetting all sorts of things. So it is no small feat to finish that Baja 1000 course, and you got to realize you're doing it over 36 hours in really bad and harsh conditions, overnight in the dark. Oh, we lost I forgot. We lost our rear view mirror. We lost our overhead lights. In fact, both shifts I did, we drove without the big overhead lights on the top because that got broken off in one of our rollover crashes. So by the end, I would just say nothing on the car worked any longer. And it is amazing that thing got through, but we did. And I will never, ever forget the experience. Let me tell you, that is a bucket list item for sure.
So, Mike, I'm going to give you a contextualized congratulations. And the reason why I said it that way is because over the years, I've had the opportunity to meet, know, and interview a whole bunch of people who have been involved in some capacity with the Baja 1000. And one singularity from talking to all of them is it's very rare a discussion about the actual placement that you came in or the time or anything like that. Most people, unless their bills depend on it, that's how they pay their bills. They're a sponsored truck. The goal is to finish, and to finish is a very big deal. Everybody doesn't come home and say they finished. Like right. If you watch the NASCAR or something like that, the majority of the guys every week, they make it home. That's not the case. So, like I said, congratulations, but highly contextualized.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I will add to that. Even when you spend several $1 million on a race car, like some of these trophy trucks that started the race. I had the opportunity to go down at the beginning of the race to say, good luck and goodbye to our first team of drivers. And so I walked down to the starting line where the trophy trucks were launching. So these are the professionals. And they go out of there like, as you can imagine, these things are running 1,000 to 1,500 horsepower out of these trucks. Some of them have 2 engines in them. And it's just fascinating to watch with, there were 25 helicopters in the sky, and each time a truck launches, one of the helicopters peels off and follows them. So the amount of work and money and time and hardship that goes into this is amazing. But what I wanted to say is even those guys, a lot of them don't finish the race. I'll give you an example of this. Toby Price was winning the race overall, number 1 truck in the race, and he had, I want to say he had only 14 miles left to go, and he ran out of fuel.
Whoa!
And he ended up coming in. I think he came in 5th, but he lost the podium, lost the lead on that. He was obviously able to finish, but then there were other people, that got had crashes. Even in the trophy truck category, there were a few people that I had talked to before the race started. There was one woman in particular. She ended up crashing. Unfortunately, it was pretty serious too. There was some serious. We saw some serious accidents for sure, as you can imagine. You have a roll cage, but you look at it this way: even with a roll cage, it doesn't stop. Let's say you crash sideways or something, roll into a fence along the course, and one of the fence poles comes through the front of your car. I mean, you could get impaled by this, I want to emphasize that it is definitely a dangerous sport. There's no question about it. Maybe less, I don't want to say less dangerous, but maybe less dangerous for a team like us because we were arguably going a little bit slower. But I'll tell you, being in that car, it still feels like you're going pretty darn fast. And once again, I mean, David and I did 2 shifts overnight. So you're going fast on Baja roads, which I'm very familiar with, and it's dark. And as I said earlier, we had lost our off-road lights, a lot of them, and you're tired because you haven't slept in a day and a half. So there's a lot of factors that go into this. The emotional roller coaster is amazing. We actually, our first team of drivers crashed and rolled the car at mile 57. And at the time, I was in the chase car 1, waiting for them to come into the pit, which was about mile 115. So they only got halfway to where they were supposed to go, and we didn't know what was going on. Right, all of a sudden, you're watching the tracker, and the car stops, and we don't know what's going on. They didn't radio us. We didn't hear any. The car had Starlink on it. We didn't hear any report. So we're all sitting around. Did they get a flat tire? Are they stuck? And then I'm looking at so I'm scanning. We had Starlink on our chase car, so I'm zooming in and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, they're at a pretty steep corner downhill. I was like, I didn't want to say it out loud, but in my mind, I'm like, oh God, I don't know how they might have rolled it. And sure enough, we finally got, once they uprighted the car, because Starlink is on the roof, they were able to communicate back to us, and they said it was confirmed that we have indeed rolled the car. And, we're thinking for half an hour, 40 minutes that the race is over. We're only like an hour into it, and we thought we were done. And so your emotions are like, you're at a low. You're like, man, we just spent all week. We have all this team, and we're done. And then all of a sudden, it's like we got the car rolled back over. We're in it. We're good. We're rolling. And we're like, oh, we're rolling. And little did I know at the time, we were going to roll 3 more times during the course of the race. And among other tragedies, but I mean, we literally rolled this car onto its roof 4 times in the race.
So this segues very well into a question that a listener had about this to you. They told me to ask Mike. You were talking about the vehicle rolling over and everything, but their question merely was, during the race, you see the videos, the car is going up and down on the bumps and everything. And they just wanted to know, how much does the vehicle take that shock out of your body? Because, they've got a serious suspension system, but I know it can't take away everything.
It doesn't take away everything. I mean, I think the trophy trucks. If you ever watch video of those trucks, they literally almost looks like the truck's going straight as the tires and the wheels are going up and down, up and down, up and down, and they're going over to these bumps. Mm-hmm. We obviously are not going nearly as fast. So as some of these whoops, we call them whoopsies, we're going up and down all these things, these jumps, some of them are deeper or taller than the car actually is. And we're not, no, the suspension does not take everything out of it. There is, at the end of your 4-hour plus shift, you want to get out of the car. I mean, there's no question. I could describe it best as saying that it's like getting into a wash machine for 4 hours, and I mean that's kind of what it feels like. I mean, for those of you that may or may not be claustrophobic, this is probably not your sport either, because you also realize that you've got a 5-point harness on, you got your helmet on, you're hooked to air, you're hooked to communications, and you really can move your arms, and that's it. And if you can't reach it by moving your arms around, you can't get to it, right? And you really can't move at all. So you're really strapped in tight, like you're in a mummy, like a mummy bag. That's the best way I could describe that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think to be an elite driver in like a Baja or a similar race, you need good core strength. Specifically because you're pinned in like that, and you're basically every movement is referenced off of your core. So I would think a good core would.
We joked about it before the race because we tried to eat and hydrate well and everything else. And you want to be in as good of a shape as possible to get in that car. I mean, I will never, ever, ever, ever again say, because I think all of us at one time or another have probably been like, like the NASCAR guys, they get in a car and they go around in a circle. They don't really have to be athletes. Oh, yeah, they do. And I'll tell you what, when you're off road like this, you got to even be more of an athlete because, like you said, Phil, I mean, there's a lot of core. I felt it in my stomach. I could feel my stomach muscles, my neck, because I've had neck surgery a couple times, and I definitely got out of that car, and I was popping Advils like they were going out of style. I mean, there's no question.
Yeah, even without neck injuries, I could see a perfectly healthy human being. The wrong bump at the wrong time, sitting in the wrong situation, could activate a sciatic nerve, could slip a disc. I could see a lot of things happening.
So at the end of the race, in our last segment, I'll talk more about this when I put out a YouTube video or something, but our communication went out. And for those of you that know anything about the racing, this is really a team effort. And the co-pilot has to tell the driver what to do. And so when it's working correctly, I'm over there saying, left turn coming up, right turn, gradual this, we've got a checkpoint coming up, a big dip is in the road. I'm calling out stuff constantly on our helmet communication. Well, we lost our communication. So nothing, radio silence. It's like flying an aircraft in a cloud. With a blindfold on, like you can't see anything. So what I had to do was use my left hand to push, go signal left, signal right, so David could see out of his periphery which way I was telling him to go by hand signals. And I got to tell you, if you do that for a couple hours, and my arm felt like it was about to fall off. Like literally, like you're trying to hold your arm up in the air constantly while the car is bouncing up and down, no less.
That's
so it was physically at the end of the race, and it's partly because of the temperatures and what we went through, but we were arguably somewhat incoherent. I think both of us. We were at a level like I just remember getting crossing the finish line and being pulled out of the car, and I had a team have to take off my clothes and my boots and everything. I couldn't do anything on my own. So I mean, it's intense.
So Mike, you probably thought about this already, but your background, you're gonna have to add some at least 3 seconds worth of footage of you on the Baja, man. It has to happen.
I know, right? I got some race helmet footage or whatever. Yeah, I know. Right. Here I am going into it, right? So largely that, I was brought on to get awareness out, to help raise money for the Ronald McDonald House charity, and to do social media and everything. And I was so frustrated because in my mind, I had envisioned that I was going to shoot all this film and I was going to get in the car and on my shift one, I even brought in my Osmo and I put it in the side pocket of the car. Well, I got news for you. There is zero chance I could have gotten the Osmo out of the pocket while we were driving off road. There's no chance. Like as it was, I got it out for maybe 2 minutes while we were in what they call a speed zone. You're actually on pavement when you come off, and it's a speed limited. You can only go so fast, and it took me. It took me probably more than 5 minutes to get the camera out of the side pocket that was right next to me, because you're like I said, you're so claustrophobically attached to everything that you're trying to use one hand to unzipper a bag and pull it out, and I shot a little video of us in the race car. Of course, it was at night, so it wasn't a great video, anyways, but. I gave up on the second shift, thank God, because with all the water. But I was like, yeah, there's no filming going on when you're in that race car. I'm optimistically waiting. We actually had 2 professional videographers shoot our team, and I will be getting the video of that. And we had GoPros that were mounted in the car. So it'll be. I kind of can't wait to see some in-car video, particularly some of. when some of the incidences that we've had over the course of the race. It'll be interesting video to watch for sure.
So give me a lesson learned from this experience.
Teamwork is the number one thing. The bottom line is this is a team sport as much as you would envision that racing is a driver oriented exercise. There is zero chance that we would have made the finish line. I'm going to tell you that probably the most valuable player in the entire operation was our collective pit crew.
I can imagine.
A bunch of Mexicans out of Mexicali is where they're based out of. They were indispensable. I mean, they did everything from changing tires to fueling to making sure that the car was intact when we went out with new drivers to helping us in and out of the car. At the end of the race, we had it's a long story. I won't get into it now. We had a couple incidents. I had to get out of the car. I actually had to hike back down the racetrack for a little while to go get help because we had blown our clutch. They were waiting there with a blanket to wrap around me, put me in the pit in the chase car. I mean, these guys were phenomenal. We could not have done it without that. So the bottom line is everybody on that team is just as important as the next person. I think that is the biggest episode of learning that I could have. I mean, I knew it was going to be a team effort, but I don't think I envisioned it to this extent. And I'm sure that is exactly true of some of these trophy trucks with these professional former NASCAR drivers or whatever. They're not doing it without their team either. I mean, and their team is even more expansive than ours. I mean, they've got helicopters in the sky and everything else. So it's a team effort. And, I definitely want to send a shout out to everybody on my team. Indispensable. Could not have done it without all of you. We were all part of it, and it was a great group of people. So, I mean, that's the bottom line.
Well, Mike, I'm glad you're back safe and sound. Are you ready for us to get into our normal random waypoints?
Oh, hell yeah. That'll be a whole lot easier than being in a race car.
Okay. So, Mike, Japan is facing something that sounds straight out of a survival movie. A record number of fatal bear attacks. Since April, 12 people have been killed, double last year's record. Food shortages are driving hungry bears into towns and cities, forcing the government to call in troops to help contain the threat. Are we seeing the effects of climate change pushing wildlife closer to humans than ever before?
I don't know if it's climate change or it's just the fact that we've got so many more humans as part of the problem. We keep eating up. You got to think about it this way. Not only are there people that are taking up space. So, every time somebody's born, we got to build another house. We've got to, but it's the infrastructure that goes into the people. So it's not just what space you're taking up, but your grocery store, your food supply, right? You have to have more and more parts of the wilderness turned into food supply areas. So, we see this shit. We see it in the United States. Look how many bears and mountain lions and I mean, I coming from New England, man, we used to have deer. I mean, I could look out in my backyard and have 14, 15, 18 deer in my yard at any given time. It's just crazy. So is there an element of climate change? I mean, I don't like to, I probably said this on the podcast before. It's not that I don't believe in climate change. I don't like the word. Climate change is kind of pretentious because I think it's usually attached to the fact that we believe that we are in control of Mother Nature. We are changing the climate. I think it's more likely there are things that we could definitely do to harm it. I'm not going to say that we don't.
Well, that's what's happened in our world. I don't disagree with what you just said, but you just kind of described what's happening in our world where something means something, and then there becomes a distaste or disdain toward that word, not because of its original meaning, but because how it's evolved into something that it does not mean. Right. So I totally get you on that, but because there's always been climate change.
Exactly.
We studied climate change when I was a kid. I mean, if you believe in evolution, if you believe in creation, whatever you believe in, there's historically been climate change for millions of years.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're religious and you're believing in, Noah's Ark or whatever, I mean, that's climate change, right? You're going across, you're loading up the animals in a boat for a flood. So throughout history, and by the way, because I think today climate change is associated with the Earth getting warmer, and that is not what it means.
And I don't even care about that part. The part that bothers me is climate change has evolved into a charitable business and liberal talking point to get people to change behaviors and to imply that mankind has had more of an effect on the climate than I believe it has. And I absolutely believe we've affected the climate, but nowhere near to the point where these different organizations try to make it. That's my issue.
I agreed. And the second part of that, Phil, which is also pretty important, is that we associate it with and continue to talk about the destruction of the earth. Like somehow we are like God. We are not going to destroy the earth, okay? Wow. We may destroy the earth for our ability to be on it, but to say
I agree with that.
But to say that mankind is going to destroy the earth is highly unlikely. You know what I mean? Like it'll be here long after us. It just might not be able to sustain us anymore, and maybe that's our fault. Maybe it's not, but all those things are related together. The keyword climate change and then the destruction of Earth are talking points. They're somewhat misleading, and I'm not saying that it's not potentially happening, and that yes, if we burn tons of fossil fuels and pump a bunch of smoke into the atmosphere, that isn't making an effect. The question is, how much of an effect is it making, and are there other things that are also affecting it? And potentially, I could tell you there's a lot of other things that will affect it faster, like getting hit by an asteroid or something. I mean, there are other things that could change it radically, much quicker and more catastrophically than we can. But I think it's a mankind pretentious sort of topic, in my opinion.
That's perfect. Pretentious. We think so much of ourselves.
Yeah.
I believe we're just a blip on the calendar of Earth. And I believe there's going to be some new organism millions from years from now that will look at the remnants of our existence on the earth, our fossils or whatever, and laugh at us.
Yep. we were just a blip. I mean, the other option is, and I don't think people ever consider this, is that obviously mankind as a whole is also mutating and changing as we go forward. So it is difficult for us to actually sit here and say, well, we're going to destroy the earth to the point where we can't live. Well, we don't know that. We may be able to adapt to a, quote, future earth that we've changed to. So,
well, I was even taking that all into consideration. I believe that can and will happen, but at some point, whatever new version of a human, at some point we have an end point. I believe that the earth will replenish itself and start over again like it's done several times.
I mean, let's just look at it in a modern day view here. Like, if you cut down, I mean, I've seen this on video a number of times where they've cut a road into the Amazon jungle, as an example. And if they don't maintain that thing, or something happens, or it gets cut off, that thing goes back to the jungle in so short of a time. And that is look, if you had the Star Trek system, you could beam all of the humans off of planet Earth right now. The Earth would recover so fast it wouldn't even be funny.
Yes. Wait, have you ever seen those shows on PBS where they're like, what would happen to the world if humans didn't exist?
Yes.
It should
like
make
Chicago.
You
They
feel
had one with Chicago with the buildings, and they get 10 years later, 20 years later, 50 years later. It was crazy.
It should make you feel so unimportant and insignificant, which is what you are.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point. Whenever I hear that climate change thing, my head immediately goes to, oh boy, here we go. I'm super insignificant, and I know it.
Yeah, Mike, you brought up Chicago. I usually get an air nab when I go to Chicago, but you remember when staying at an air nab was considered the cooler alternative to hotels?
Yeah.
Cheaper, more personal, maybe even with a view. But now, hidden cameras, sky-high prices, cleaning fees, and owners who act like you're the maid have killed the vibe. Guests are frustrated and hosts are bleeding cash. So, Mike, is this the end of Airbnb as we know it?
Yeah, I think yes. I think it's and not to say that it won't get reinvented as something different or some kind of different rules, but I think it's run its course. You're right. It used to be super cool. I remember when it first came out, we all were like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest! This is the greatest thing. I can actually get a house instead of some crappy hotel room." And it's now, no, it is. I think it's swung completely the other direction now. I'd rather personally get a sort of a boutique hotel experience. Not necessarily going to like the Hilton, but like to, some hippie hipster kind of vibe, kind of cool, eclectic. I actually recently stayed at a place in San Diego for a night like that, and it was a really cool place. It was like just totally different. But it wasn't an Airbnb, and yeah, I think that
things have changed tremendously, because in the beginning, Airbnb, what it gave to me personally is I had opportunities where I have temporarily lived somewhere that I would have never experienced in my lifetime because it's out of my price range.
Right.
Way out of my price range.
I think what it's morphing into is it probably will still have a use in the long-term rental sort of situation, meaning like not a permanent rental, but like say you're going to do something for a month or 2 months or something like that. In the beginning, it was like
executive housing.
Yeah, like executive housing. I think that's the way it's going, because there's just became too many rules, and like you said, you almost treat it like you're the maid. And you're right.
A lot of
cameras
them now,
everywhere. Yeah,
a lot of them
weird.
now. The expectation is you are supposed to bring it back to whatever condition it was before you left out. So that means washing dishes, all types of stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, why am I doing that?
Why am I doing this? I'm going to a hotel, like with a kitchen.
And then and some of them be like, you don't have to clean up, but here's the cleaning fee.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
And everybody's heard about how there's so many creepy owners of these homes that have cameras. I can understand the idea of an owner wanting cameras in his house. Yeah. But a lot of these reports, it's like in the bathroom, in the bedroom, stuff like that. So I don't do Airbnb no more.
No. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's run its course.
Mike, Elon Musk isn't slowing down. He's doubling down. SpaceX just struck another $2.6 billion deal to buy 15 megahertz of spectrum from EchoStar, adding to the $17 billion deal earlier this year. That gives Starlink the power to beam voice, text, and data straight to smartphones worldwide. Are Apple and the big carriers starting to regret betting against Musk?
I think so. I wouldn't be actually surprised if Musk buys one of the big carriers. I can see that happen. Sure. Think about it. I mean, he's on a mission to control communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got the money. He has got the ability to do it.
He could just buy like a phone hardware company. That's all he needs. He don't need like a full-blown Apple.
Nope.
Nokia, get Nokia or BlueBerry, somebody that's like barely there.
Yep.
They have the manufacturing. He can get them at a good price. I didn't think about that when I first asked it to you, Mike.
There's no limit because there's the hardware side of it, and then there's also the software side of it, which is really, he could buy T-Mobile.
Or he's probably got people on board already. If he bought like, let's say he bought Nokia, he would get so many resumes sent to him from top people. He wouldn't even have to look for them. He wouldn't have to buy a T-Mobile. He could just get the workers.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I brought up this whole thing, Mike, is just kind of to pat myself on the back. I told you so. We always periodically talk about Elon Musk, and from the very beginning, I said this is all leading up to him trying to control worldwide telecommunications. And this is pretty much the last nail in the coffin for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's got it with a lot of help from the U.S. government, and the fact that he's got the rockets and the satellites to control it, which a lot of it's on taxpayer dime. So, people that don't like him always are like, well, the guy didn't invent anything. He's stupid, whatever, blah blah, all this stuff. No, he ain't stupid. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Okay. So let's get into that. Mike, Elon Musk just secured a nearly $1 trillion pay package to stay at Tesla, the biggest in history. But here's the kicker. Tesla's top talent keeps walking out the door. The Cybertruck boss, the Model Y chief, even Musk's right-hand execs have quit in the last few months. So if the people actually who build Tesla are leaving, what exactly are shareholders paying Elon for?
Yeah, I think it's either paying him, like I said, I think on a couple podcasts ago, they're paying him to have the connections, right? He's the wealthiest guy on earth, and he's got the connections with SpaceX, with the government, with various other things. I think their future is in, and I think he said this, I think their future is in the self-driving stuff, or I think he wants to get into that taxi business, quote, taxi business. He wants to get into busing and some of the and long haul transportation and stuff like that. So I think that's the I think the direct to consumer market for his automobile thing is not what he's thinking about. I think that's a side thing.
You might say I'm crazy, Mike, but I think electric vehicles for just a residential customer, it has already had its peak.
Yeah.
It's already come and gone. There is no higher sales year. It's not going to be no new models. It's already on a downturn.
Certainly, as they're developed today,
he would be forced to do exactly what you said because that's the only place for it.
Yep.
No, people are regretting owning electric vehicles. There's always been a large majority who never ever wanted electric vehicles. So everything says that what your prediction was, to me, is highly accurate.
The problem is electric vehicles, they haven't ever been able to achieve a point at which you don't feel like you've compromised something.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right.
So you've bought the thing, but there's a compromise. And until they can make one that there's zero compromise, whether that's in time, mileage, cost, length of time that the vehicle's good for, whatever it is, until they can achieve what the internal combustion engine cars have done, there's still a compromise. And I'm not saying that they won't come out with something new that will. It hasn't happened yet. So the cars that we have today are still a compromise. And I agree with you. The cycle is it's already reached its peak.
I was very interested early on in purchasing an electric vehicle, and I was merely waiting for certain numbers to be hit, and they haven't even come close.
No.
I would start looking if they had a 600-mile range and less than 20 minutes to fill from empty.
Right.
If they could just get those two things,
right,
I might consider them.
Yeah, because you don't really want to have to read a book for 3 hours at the gas station. Basically,
and
right? I mean,
they need to figure out a way to put the transformer in the vehicle, and so that you can just pull a plug out of your vehicle and you can stick it in any outlet anywhere you go.
Yep.
That's when it'll be good to me.
Yep, and it hasn't happened. And I don't think it's going to.
I agree. So, Mike, Trump just defended Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman over the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, saying things happened and insisting Mohammed bin Salman knew nothing about it, even though U.S. intelligence said otherwise. Trump welcomed him to the White House with full ceremony, offered business praise, and dismissed questions about the killing as insubordinate. Mike, is this what U.S. foreign policy looks like when business interests outweigh accountability?
All right, I'm going to give you my unpopular opinion here, probably. So MBS comes in. He is effectively the ruler of Saudi Arabia, right? His dad is, 88 years old, whatever. He's the ruler. Let's just cut to the chase. He's going to be and continue to be the ruler. It's a monarchy. So it is what it is. If you want to have a relationship with that country, and by the way, that country is very important to have a relationship with, regardless, and I know this is going to be unpopular, but regardless of whether he was responsible for killing Khashoggi or whatever his name was, I hate to say it, but at this point it's irrelevant. I mean, it's water under the bridge because what are we going to do? We're going to hate the guy forever as an entire nation, as a country, as a foreign policy, because that isn't going to be good for us. It's not going to be good for the Middle East. So I don't know what to. I know it sounds ugly as hell to say, but like, what's the options? So I think Trump is doing what Trump does. Trump's being a business guy. And he's like, look, I don't know what happened before. It happened a bunch of years ago. We're moving on.
What?
What?
What? Go ahead. It happened in 2018 in his first.
Yeah.
And the information came directly to him. He has.
But it's 7 years ago.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying is it was 7 years ago. So. I mean, the problem. What are we going to do? Here's our options. You got two options. You either work with the guy, or you don't work with the guy. That's not an option. So I don't know. We kill him. I mean, I don't know what the option is. There's not many options.
Oh, I'm not arguing with you, bro. My perspective is maybe a little colder than yours.
Oh boy.
So, and I'm going to break it down into three things. Okay, so the first thing is that's a leader from another country.
Right.
So as long as my leader doesn't do it, I really don't have much to say. So that's the first thing. Two, the gentleman Jamal Khashoggi, the way it is framed in the news, if you're not a person who keeps up with it, I bet you if I went out in the street and polled 100 people, they would all think that this guy was an American citizen. So the victim and the person who did it are not from the United States. They're not United States citizens. Nothing.
None of our business.
So this is a foreign affair. So my president ain't got to say nothing in support or in denying or anything. I don't think my president has any responsibility to go any direction. So that's the second thing.
Yep.
And here's the third thing, because it's going to contradict the first. And that is, we do stuff like that all the time.
Yep. That's true.
We do stuff like that. Don't start talking about the color of the kettle when the color of your kettle ain't right.
Right.
That's my new way of saying it.
I like that. I agree. I agree. I mean,
we
also don't know the whole story, by the way.
But my point is, I don't have to digress to that. It's simple. It's not my business. It's not my president's business. It's not my country's business. And we do the same stuff. So how can we dare reprimand somebody? And we kill more people than he do.
Yep.
Matter of fact,
we've done it this month.
We kill people for them.
Yes.
So whoa, how do you selective outrage? And
I gotta agree with Trump on this when he went off on the reporter there, because it was an inappropriate question on that in that context, in that setting, to ask a question about that killing when by an American, by the way, because the reporter is an American, was asked by an American about the killing, which we just stated was 8 years ago or whatever. In a diplomatic setting in the White House, to me was the wrong question to ask.
Why?
Because it's one of those questions like what in the fuck did she think they were going to answer? You know, I mean, it's a slap question. It's a question intentionally it's presented by media that hates Trump.
Okay.
And quite frankly hates.
Reporters do that up and down the aisle.
They do.
Why all of a sudden we got to bite our tongue for someone who ain't even an American?
I'm not saying we have to. I just think that that was not a question. Look, they weren't talking about that. That wasn't an issue on most people's minds when it was a hardball question that came out of left field. Let's put it that way. In my opinion, it's
only left field because they built right field. They sat down to build right field. It's not out of left field. It's the first time that the guy who killed Jamal Khashoggi is in America, and I can ask the question. It's the very first time.
Well, not the first time you could ask the question. First time he was in America.
It's the first time I could ask Jamal Khashoggi that question. I couldn't go to Saudi Arabia and ask that question because I wouldn't make it out.
Fair. And by the way, she might not make it out even here.
Now you heard. See, that's the thing about me, and that's why I'll never be a conservative. Is I can on one side recognize, hey, my leader of my country, he doesn't have to do this or he doesn't have to do that. But then I can also say we are weighing practicality with morality.
Mm-hmm.
And people want to just wash it over and make it like Trump is doing good and it's right. He may be making the right decision, big picture wise, but let's acknowledge the immorality of everything about it. It's immoral, the killing of this Jamal dude. It's immoral, the idea that I'll turn a blind eye to you being a murderer because it will benefit us financially. So I feel without that acknowledgement, there's a hypocrisy. I can say you did something wrong for the better or the bigger picture, but you still did wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you're also not that I'm taking.
And this happened in his first presidency. The information was given to him that this guy did it. It was confirmed, and he went against it. This was a big deal in his first presidency. Mm-hmm. So 7 years down the road, he ain't forgot about it or nothing. This was a big deal. And and I know how this works. There's an aide right there. So if he didn't know, they're gonna let him know.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm back in the Saudis here, but I mean, it was the American intelligence that said that he was behind it. Wow. I
that's your argument?
Well, I don't know.
So who's intelligent? Real quick question, and then we'll go to something else. What government's intelligence would you have taken over America's?
Oh, no, none. I mean, I think we have the best intelligence for sure. But I mean, there are faults. We've done all sorts of fucked up things with our intelligence has been wrong in the past. So
I agree.
So I don't know. I mean, I likely look. The question was back 8 years ago. The question was, did the order come directly from him? And that was the part that was somewhat unclear.
No, that was the part that was clear.
Well, the second part was more clear. The second part of the intelligence was that he knew about it. That it was inconceivable that he would not have known about it.
Okay, so let's just, Mike, we're talking about Saudi Arabia, okay?
I know. I know.
So what you just said is absurd. That somebody would make a bold move like that without his knowledge first, because you would end up dead. That is totally not logical what you just said.
Well, but knowledge and
we're talking about Saudi Arabia.
Yep, but knowledge and coming up with the plan to do it may not have been one and the same.
Okay, so Mike, you could come up with the plan on how to kill somebody, and I'd be like, okay, that's cool. So
yeah.
What changed?
Not much, but it's semantics.
Exactly.
It's semantics.
Exactly.
But like you said earlier,
that's what
Phil,
I'm saying. I agree with the moves, but I'm not about to say Phil, what you did was right.
We've killed 75 people in the last month in fucking boats floating off in the Gulf of Mexico. I mean,
I made that point, Mike.
But yeah,
I agree. We can't call the kettle black because ours is blacker.
So how is that such a big news story that one guy got killed? I mean, we've done way more than that.
I think you losing what I'm saying, Mike. I think the president should have defended the Saudi crown prince, but the facts are he killed somebody, and we're letting it slide. Why can't both things be right? Trump did the right thing, but this is the truth of what he did.
Now, refresh me one more time. They killed him. Why? What was the reason that they killed him? I'm not remembering that. I thought he was just like a journalist or something, and he was just writing bad stories. I don't remember that, right? Because he was not a government guy, right? He was a civilian.
I'm gonna find out right now.
I remember they chopped him up into a million pieces because they figured that out. They sawed him up, and I mean, look, it was ugly. There's no question, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm immune to it at this point, but there's shit that going on everywhere in the world every day.
Well, just be honest, Mike. You have your biases, and you just have your biases like everybody else.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, the guy
ain't no way to get around what I said.
You're right.
No way.
I think the guy was mouthing off, and he should have just shut his mouth. But I don't know. Phil's looking it up for those of you out there listening. We don't want to say the wrong thing here on the Waypoints Overland podcast. I mean, we probably already have, but he's looking up why he didn't like him. I don't remember if he was like used to be in the government or he was trying to.
You know what I hate about Chat GPT? You'll ask it a very specific question, and if it don't want to give you the answer, it'll give you all this all around about stuff that has nothing to do with your question.
Right. Or start asking you more questions. That's what I don't like about it. All of a sudden it'd be like, I asked you a question. Why are you asking me a question?
So, because the most it'll say is the motive widely assumed is to silence a high-profile dissident.
Yep.
So
yeah.
They're not giving you anything specific that he said. I knew that it was because of stuff he had said and wrote.
Yeah.
I want to know what he said.
The irony of the whole thing is I'm not sure. Not that we want to get into this, but I'm not sure.
And you do know he was killed and dismembered like in an official building that the Saudi prince be at.
In an embassy.
Right.
It was in an embassy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he went to an embassy. No, I think it was a foreign embassy, wasn't it?
Okay.
I thought it was in the Turkish embassy or somewhere.
Yeah, it was the Turkish embassy.
Yeah, so it wasn't even in the Saudi. It was on Turkish soil. Which is even more fucked up.
You are absolutely right. It is an embassy, so they were on Turkish soil. But you being cinematic again. But that embassy is there in Saudi Arabia.
Was it, or was it in another country? I don't remember where it was. I maybe you might be right. I don't know where it was. Doesn't really matter. I agree with you, Phil.
No. You're right. You're right. Because I remember now. They convinced him. They convinced him to come there. Him. Yeah. And he thought it was like he was going to get protection or something.
Yep.
I just remembered that.
Yeah, there was a whole,
none of all of that stuff could happen
involved in this.
None of that is like if you had said all of that happened under an American president, I could literally see something like that happening and the president not knowing about it.
Mm-hmm.
But you would not live to see another day doing a big move like this in Saudi Arabia and the prince don't know about it. You would not live another day.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we had to argue about something, Mike. I'm not sure too much.
I'm not even sure we're arguing. I think we're kind of agreeing here, but it's all two wrongs don't make a right. That's basically what our argument is here.
Yes. Well, no, I'm saying two wrongs can make a right.
Yeah, I get it.
But don't lie and say that there weren't two wrongs that built that right.
Right. True.
Mike, every time Trump is pressed about his family's business ties to Saudi Arabia, he brushes it off as fake news. But while he was denying involvement, the Trump organization was locking in hotel deals, licensing projects, and multi-million-dollar ventures with Saudi developers, even a new luxury hotel in the Maldives. So, Mike, does this raise legitimate conflict of interest concerns, or is this just how global businesses work for presidents?
Well, Trump's full of shit when he says that he doesn't have any connections to Saudi Arabia, and he's full of shit when he says his family doesn't have any connections with Saudi Arabia. Both of those statements are fantastically untrue. Now, having said that,
oh boy,
everybody has got connections in the business world to Saudi Arabia. I mean, shit. Golf.
Mike, you are.
Let's just take something. Let's just take something.
Time out, Mike. I am really seeing your biases today.
Okay.
I specifically picked subjects where Trump is wrong.
Oh, he's wrong. I'm not arguing that.
Continue.
No, he's wrong.
Okay.
All I'm saying is, I'm just taking a non-political, non-violent group like golf. Golf is in their pocket.
But your reply was basically, I'm surmising it, they do it too.
Oh yeah, everybody's done. Shit. Obama, Clinton.
So with that said, I should be able to murder somebody because there's millions of murders that happen.
Well, yeah, I suppose, but
no,
Mike, I'm just saying. I just say it is.
I gotta have us discuss more moral issues with you.
It's worse with Trump because he has arguably the most connections and the most, let's call it, hands in the cookie jar with Saudi Arabia of anybody else that I can think of. So what was the question though? You asked me, is this just status quo going forward, basically, or what are you asking me? Yeah, I think it is.
Where do you put it? Is it just business as usual, or is this does this conflict of interest concern?
I don't think it was always business as usual, and I think there was a lot more in the past done to hide it and or separate it. I think he just blatantly is like, no, give me a fucking plane. I'll take a plane and we'll do this and we'll build a hotel with you guys. And you want no. I mean,
you just hit the nail on the head.
He is operating the office of the presidency and the federal U.S. government completely different than anybody in the past. He's operating it as a pure capitalist business, as if he was sitting in a glass tower in Manhattan. So, no, this is different. This is not status quo. And I think that, do I think it's going to be like this going forward? Yes, because I said this on a podcast many, many podcasts ago. He has forever changed the office of the presidency. He's never going back. So I think that this is the way that not in our lifetime. So I think that this is status quo now, yes. I think whoever wins next term, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, they're going to do the same thing as Trump. Because I don't think they're going to get elected unless they are very Trump-esque.
I believe that powerful people are chomping at the bit to become the next president now that they see how much power they can wield. I believe there are people can't wait for their opportunity to do far more or far worse or far better than Trump has. Mike, it looks like you have disconnected, or at least
you hear me?
I hear you, but your video is gone.
I know. I don't. Why is my video like that?
I don't know. You must have disconnected or something.
No, I didn't touch a thing. My camera's way over there. I don't know what's going. Maybe it'll come back.
So you work on that, Mike.
We'll just keep talking because nobody's watching our damn show anyways. Everybody just listens to us.
Right. So I just want you to, you were talking about, this is pretty much, government officials have always pretty much been on the take. Let's just keep it real.
Oh,
the only difference is there's more scrutiny, and because of the internet and social media and things like that, it's easier to focus that scrutiny and to investigate these types of things. Because something that stuck out to me when I was investigating ties between Trump and Saudi Arabia was his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. And I feel like the deal that he has with the Saudi Arabians is like a picture-perfect example of how business has been done in government for a long, long time, far before Trump was in office. The only difference is we have knowledge of these things. So Jared Kushner's firm, they received $2 billion in commitments from the Saudi Public Investment Fund between 2021 and 2024, with a 1.25% management fee totaling at least $125 million over 5 years. So for those who don't know what I just said, I basically just said what they do is They'll take $2 billion of their money and they'll give it to you. They'll transfer it to you, but they're transferring it as though it's an investment fund and that this organization is going to do something for it. You obviously pay a fee to that organization for handling your money. The fee is how you transfer money that you could not have otherwise transferred. So in this transaction, they wanted to give $125 million to Jared Kushner, and that's how they did it, because there was no profit made during this whole thing. It was a transfer of money and a transfer back.
Yep.
But legally, it's legal.
Right.
And these types of transactions, not this exact one, but similar things have been being done before you were born. You just know about it now.
Yep. And the Saudi investment fund is involved in all sorts of stuff.
Yes, it is.
They've been involved in, like, look at just take sports for a second. Golf, cycling, F1 racing. I mean, you name it, they're involved in it. Across the board, they're involved in restaurants in the United States. They're involved in real estate. They're involved all over the place.
And whatever they're involved in, it's always the top echelon of it.
Yep. That's right.
It doesn't take them long. They don't have like this long ramp up period to get to the top. They just buy their way to the top.
Buy it right away. Yep. And like you said, and so that is, think about this for a second. That's super attractive to a person like Donald Trump, because Trump has lived his entire life all about being at the top, right? His glitzy casinos, his glitzy buildings, his penthouse stuff, his all that. So him, it is not a stretch to see why he has such a connection to the Saudis. They're like two peas in a pod.
Trump and his extended family generated an estimated $50 million last year alone from Saudi-connected ventures. Saudi Arabia's coastal city of Jeddah, it'll host Trump Tower Jeddah and Trump Plaza Jeddah, featuring offices, apartments, and green spaces. These are all payments. Don't look at these as business transactions.
Right.
These are payments to Trump.
Yep.
I have to give him one thing, though. He's the most brazen I've ever seen.
Oh. Yeah,
I thought until him, I thought Nancy Pelosi was the biggest one. But Trump is like, hold my beer.
Yeah, hold my beer. Exactly. Wait till the Epstein thing comes out now.
Mike, this one is wild. House Republicans tried and failed to censure Delegate Stacey Plaskett after text surfaced showing she was messaging Jeffrey Epstein in real time during the 2019 Michael Cohen hearing. A convicted sex offender watching a congressional hearing and weighing in on the questions. And the vote only failed by a handful. Mike, does this raise bigger questions about judgment in Congress, or is this just political theater?
Well, I mean, it's a combination of political theater, but it also is, the judgment of, I don't know where to start. I mean, this could be a 10-hour conversation.
I know it reveals to me how deep Epstein had access to.
He had fingers
people in
everywhere.
Power. He's literally this is so for people who don't understand. The Cohen hearing was basically a hearing about Trump's financials and transactions and dealing with the porn star and all of that stuff.
Right.
While one of the Congress people are questioning Cohen about these things, Cohen was his lawyer.
Yep.
Plaskett is literally texting back and forth what she should ask, what kind of responses were given, and things like that. I've never heard of nothing like that.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy, but once again, it's partisan politics involved. So every single Democrat voted against censuring her, right? And I think maybe 5 Republicans crossed the aisle on that, or something like that.
Yeah, it put them in a pretty bad predicament in my estimation that they had to do that. I mean, you got to help those that are helping you survive. I mean, or a part of your team. So I get that part, but it made them take a stance that is going to really hurt them.
Yep.
Mike, let's be real. For years, Democrats have poured mounds of time and political capital into chasing the Epstein files, convinced something explosive about Trump was buried inside. But now that Congress has forced the DOJ to release everything within 30 days, it raises a question. Did Trump have Democrats spinning their wheels from day one of his presidency while they ignored issues that actually affect citizens?
I mean, it's certainly a Trump play. I don't know. And here's the other thing is you could find out that Trump had sex with Jeffrey Epstein, and 2 days later, I don't think anybody's going to give a crap. So I don't know. I don't even know if there's anything that could come out that is going to damage Trump. This is my honest opinion.
So here's the thing, Mike. If there were anything,
it would already came out.
Right. So that's my whole where I'm coming from with this question, because I think Trump, he got the GOP to wait, got them to wait. He got the Democrats all angry, ready to demand the Epstein files, and now the public, you can't go on any kind of thing about politics. About any subject, you go down into the comments, the Epstein files. Don't forget about the Epstein files. I don't care what the subject is.
Doesn't matter what the subject is. That's all anybody wants to know. But
now
I'm not sure any of us even want to know why.
But now nobody can say the Trump administration is going after Democrats because you guys are the ones who's pushed this. Yep. You can't attach the same things that you were trying to say in reverse. You can't say he's going after you because you said you sicked him on them. You literally sicked him on them. So now he can go full tilt boogie on the Democrats, and any pushback is going to be against them.
Yeah, and the other problem is that Democrats are going to have to take the hit for potentially damaging victims involved in this because they pushed so hard for it, and the legislature that passed this basically did it without any structure or protection for victims. So I think they're going to take the fall on that side too. So this could be a very well played move on the part of Trump or people on the right, but. The bottom line is, from my, and I'm just trying to take this from a non-biased perspective, but over everything that I've heard about Epstein and about people he associated with and all the connections he had in government, and you just brought one of them up, a couple minutes ago, lead me to believe that more of the connections were on the Democrat side than the Republican side.
That's what I'm talking about.
If there's going to be any kind of bad dirt coming out, I would say it's more likely that it's going to be, as an example, Bill Clinton than Donald Trump. So I don't know if we're going to actually end up finding out anything that is of significance I think if it had anything to do with some high-powered guy like Trump, Clinton, some politician, I think we don't keep secrets well in the States, so I think we would have heard about it already. So I don't know that there's going to be any kind of huge revelation of any kind. It may suck in some of the lower ranking people.
You already got people resigning. There's been like several resignations in the past 48 hours off of this.
Oh yeah. Well, like Larry Summers as an example. Like so that's what I said. So the next tier down, those people might get screwed.
Yeah, that's how I go.
Again, more of them, I would argue that more of them are on the left than the right. I think Epstein had more connections on the left.
So I'm gonna say what you're not saying when you say that.
Okay.
A liberal is more apt to live a lifestyle congruent with the desire to want to be on Epstein Island. Did I say anything inaccurate?
No.
So that was the underlying of what you were saying, and I wanted to say it.
Yep.
They look crazy, Mike.
Having said that, let's cut back to Trump for 1 second. If anything comes out that we have not heard yet, whether it's an email or a text message or something that we haven't heard yet, you know that Trump is, from all of his past things, past trials, past convictions, past Russia Gate, past all this stuff, he takes a certain course of action. So he's going to have this plausible deniability factor going in, and he's going to. I think what's going to happen is Trump's going to be like, "Yep, it shows." If the documents show that he did not screw a 12-year-old girl on the island, Trump's going to say, "Told you, I'm clean," regardless of what bad text message or email you may or may see that we haven't heard about yet. Trump's going to use this and say, "I'm fine." Particularly if something really bad comes out on somebody else, he will immediately shift focus to that.
Oh, I believe that if they didn't have some stuff on the Democrats, it would not be being released in 30 days.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised
because the Republicans still had control on as far as the vote on whether or not this was going to get released or not. So now
it's unanimous.
Yeah, so they must be very confident that it's going to be exactly like what you're saying. It's going to fall majority on the Democrats.
Now, let me ask you this question. Do you think, and remember, guys, we record this podcast a little earlier before you guys are hearing it. So Trump is probably imminently signing this right now when we're recording this. Do you think that just because it's been voted on and signed, do you think it's all going to come out? That's my next question. In other words, is the Justice Department or let me rephrase that. The Democrats are poised to be set up to say, "Oh, the Justice Department is holding something back and they're not telling you."
Well, I just look at it this way. I'm not even going to single it out to the Trump administration. Let's go with the presidency from the beginning to end of American history. Whenever documents have been sourced or accessed on this kind of level, these type of documents,
yep,
there has never been one that didn't have something redacted or a sheet of paper taken out or whatever.
Right.
That's how I learned the word redacted.
Yes, exactly. So the question is how much is going to be redacted?
So I'm just saying, if people are really thinking they're going to get the full thing, you crazy.
Can Trump use presidential immunity to redact his parts?
Absolutely.
So
he could not sign the motherfucker.
No, he's going to sign it. He said he's going to.
I know he's going to sign, but I'm just making the point that he got all kind of alternatives.
Yeah.
Other than he's got choices. The Democrats are looking really bad right now, and they look like they were set up, especially considering Democrats already look hypocritical after voting against censuring Plaskett in her Epstein-related controversy. They look, y'all been talking about this since the first time Donald Trump was president. Shut up and stop talking about it while Biden was in office, and now you bring it back up again. So it looks like you only cared when you thought you could get Trump. And the truth is, you guys are the bad guys. That's how this is kind of working out, and that's what led to my first question. I think Trump set them up. He was playing 5D chess on their ass.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly could be the case.
If the files don't
rule it out.
If the files don't tie Trump to anything meaningful, Democrats may look like they spent years chasing ghosts while everyday issues, inflation, housing, border policy, transit, energy went untouched. And Plaskett's vote only amplifies accusations of double standards. I ended that statement with double standards because double standard is becoming synonymous with Democrats. Pretty much all their actions, especially if you analyze their actions since Trump has been back in office, they are the epitome of double standards.
Yeah.
Mike,
Amen to that, brother.
You got anything else you want to bring up or talk about?
Gosh, I don't think we should say anything else. We might not make it to next week.
All right, guys, you know what I'm going to say. Stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully we'll see you here or on a trail soon.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.